Fala, PowerMinders! Estamos começando mais um episódio aqui. E hoje nós teremos a possibilidade e o prazer e a honra de receber aqui um dos principais players em relação a vendas da Islândia, né? A gente não está falando de apenas uma cidade, a gente não está falando de apenas um estado, nós estamos falando do país. E nós vamos conversar com ele hoje sobre coisas muito legais em relação à sua vida, em relação à sua experiência, em relação a tudo que passou até aqui para poder chegar a ser um dos principais players de venda, e isso há vários anos. Então, for we start our conversation, Mr. Gunnar Andri, welcome. And so I'm so glad to be here today to we discuss about entrepreneurship, about sales, about your life, and about all the experience that you had until here. And so it's a very pleasure to have you here today.
Pleasure is all mine.
That's awesome. So, well, the first thing is to, I think that is the best thing is the people understand a little bit about you. Who is Gunnar Andri?
Yeah, number one, I'm a father. That's number one.
That's awesome.
And I'm an entrepreneur. I have been selling for a long time. I started really early. And yeah, I can say mostly I'm an entrepreneur, sales trainer. I've been doing that for over 25 years here in Iceland. And yeah, you just asked me and what you want to know.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, we will discuss about your book. That's a very interesting book. But before it, I just would like to know a little bit about how did you start with your career in sales? So how all the things started?
It started actually really soon. I was only 6 years old when I was first starting selling a newspaper, like I mentioned in the book, chapter 1, when the eruption starts, location is everything. But when I was 17 years old, I went into sales, and I was probably one of the worst salesmen in the world, I think, because I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I have a wrong idea about selling. But then I started to, you know, read books, go to seminars and learn it. And really soon I became a really great salesman here in Iceland. And when I was 30 years old, I thought, you know, I have been teaching and trained so a lot of people how to make a better sales. And they have been really successful after my training. So I started independent at 30 years old. And now I have been doing this for 26 years or so. So yeah, to make a long story short.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's very interesting to see that you, through all your life, you know, you were involved with sales, you know, and well, we know, and the most of people who are watching this podcast today, probably they're from Brazil, and we are talking about very different countries, and probably the strategies and the how to do in all the two countries probably is a little bit different, you know. And so just to contextualize a little bit about Iceland. So how is the market in Iceland? You know, because you've always been traveling, and so you know the market from over the world. But I just would like that you explain a little bit how is the market in Iceland, because it's a very different country. You know, not only talking about its culture, but probably about how the market does. You know, and so. How is the market in Iceland?
Of course, the market is different in every country, but first I have to tell you that, and your audience, that it's the same principle all over the world. It doesn't matter if you're in Iceland, in Brazil, or USA, whatever. It's always the same principle in selling, you know, and they're very simple. And number one, everybody are selling. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Everybody are selling. You're selling your child, some idea, your spouse. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. Everybody is selling. So we are always trying to convince someone that, you know, about do something or not do something. Even we are selling ourselves some idea. So the difference between, for example, Brazil and Iceland and Greece and Norway, it doesn't matter, Iceland, just name the country. And it's a key factor, it's always the same. So that's the best. But we can be a little bit different about how we behave in many cases. For example, in Iceland, we are not using our hands so really much like when you are in Greece, and maybe, I don't know how it is in Brazil.
Yeah,
but, you know, yeah, it's the same, using the hands, you know, a lot of body language. But it's the principle is the same all over the world. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you're always selling. So everybody can benefit from is be good enough, because we are always selling. And sometimes we are also selling ourselves the idea we should do it, we should not do it, or you know, so we are always selling. So that's my main factor, that everybody can benefit from, you know, learn something about it, even if they are not a salesperson per se, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah, very interesting. And so, if we could consider one very specific characteristic from Iceland, what would it be about sales and the market? So, a very specific characteristic of Iceland.
We are really straight to the point. Perhaps the
Awesome.
bullshit. Yeah, no, we're straight to the point. And we are also a small community. And if you are bullshitting something, the word will go out really fast. So it's really important to be honest and no bullshit. But I think it's the same all over the world. So, and about the Icelandic culture, if you're asking about that we are really small population, but we have this really attitude that we can be the best in anything. So that what drives us. It doesn't matter in the sport, in music, in writing books, whatever, business, whatever. We have this mental attitude that we, you know, we think we can do it. You know, that's the, you know, it's really much a winning attitude, if I can say so.
Very awesome. You know, and I would just consider that here in Brazil, we have this behavior here in São Paulo, or in southern Brazil, you know, because in southern Brazil, the population is more straight to the point, as you said, you know, because we do not try to create a very huge and long pipeline, or try to, you know, talk about very, as you said, very bullshit things that maybe it's not great to develop the sale. And probably it's one of the greatest things. But I just would like to share with you an idea that I have, and probably you have it in some level or not, because, well, when we see the market, I see very clearly two different kinds of market. You know, if you take, for example, in the Middle East, if you take, for example, if you take an example of Iran or Egypt, the market there, even more the popular market there, it's very based on price. And so in Turkey as well, right? It's like people wanting all the time to have a smaller price, to have the best purchase, the best opportunity, you know, but only related about price. You know, in India, for example, I saw a lot of different videos on TikTok or Instagram Reels. I saw a lot of people, you know, wanting the price, no matter how the product is delivered, no matter the quality of the product, you know, wanting all the time the price, you know. And well, otherwise, I see like Europe in a different mood, at least, you know, what I know about Europe. I see the people in Europe and in some parts of Brazil as well, looking for not only price but looking for quality, looking for differentials, looking for things that really matter the experience to get it, to purchase it, you know. And how do you see it, you know? Because look, in my mind, looks like that we have two big different markets, you know. Those who look to the price, you know, and purchase all the time the smallest price and only price, and the other part, which are looking for great experience, great post sale, great quality and experience. So how do you see it?
Back to the basic, and actually, even if this seems like a really different, for example, I've been traveling around the world. I've been to over 60 countries, and in some area, like you mentioned, people talk really much about selling on the price, not the value. But in the end of the day, it's always, in the end of the day, is it the price, you know, and the value. If it doesn't matter the price, it's also really much about the value, you know, the customer is getting. So, but it's a little bit different sales technique if you're thinking about that, you know. And yes, but in the end of the day, even if like in Europe, we have all kind of people want discount, you know. For example, in Iceland, you know, they want also, you know, how much do I get in discount and what is my price? But it's maybe a little bit different, but not so much, you know. To be honest, it's what have surprised me at most is like when I have been talking to people, business people, entrepreneurs all over the world, and whatever they're selling, it's the fundamental things are always the same, just a little bit different, you know. There's the same principle. For example, like I said, maybe in Greece and Brazil, you use your hands more, but the main factor is the word, what you use, what you say is only 7%. The tone of voice is 38%, and body language is 55%. It doesn't matter where in the world you are, it's the same principle, but even if you use your hand more, we will do it in a different way, you know. So the same principle almost, you know, are the same. It's the same principle all over the world, you know. It's, yeah. So
awesome. Very good. Yeah, that's awesome. Because as I was saying, that probably, you know, there are different perspectives of it, but at the same time, people looking for, at the final of the day, looking for the same thing, right? That is to solve their problem.
Look, it's the same. If you're trying to convince someone about anything, if you're selling idea, project, whatever you're selling, there's always the 3-4 key factor. Does the person want it? It's the same all over the world. Do I want it or do I not? Do I need it? Can I use it? And how much does it cost? So it's the same principle in the basic.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. And so tell me a little bit more about the time you worked with sales directly, you know, because before you be a person who helped another leaders and companies and, you know, people to have a better sales performance, or to have a better life in business and in life as well. You've been a salesperson, yeah? And how was it, you know? How did it start? Like your development about how you were perceiving the things, how you were developing your actions. So how was the beginning? Have you ever had the manner how to do it, but or you learn it throughout the time?
It's sometimes you have heard that if you want to be successful, you have to be motivated, you have to be positive, and that's fantastic and that's great. Of course, that is important, but there's a lot of people that I call motivated idiot, because they're motivated and they're positive, but that's not enough. You have to have the knowledge. And the best way to gain the knowledge is learn from other people that have been doing, some great things. It doesn't matter if there's in sales and entrepreneurship, learn from it. And you can learn a lot by reading good books. You can, I have my whole life story here in this book, and you can learn from a whole life, and you just pay for it maybe $10 or $20. So that's the key factor. And I have found out that the best people of the best in sales and entrepreneurship, they're always they are learning something from books, from seminars, picking up just one thing here, one thing in the other books, and make it as a great. So the key factor is, I can say honestly, is to, very simple. I think you have to have 5 things in your mind. If somebody is listening to this now, grab a paper and pen and write it down, because this is really simple, but this is a key factor. So I want to bring some value to your audience. Number 1, you have to think about your attitude. What is your attitude? Is it good or is it bad? Is it positive? Is it negative? Do you have the belief that you can do it? You have to take really good care of your attitude, because your attitude is really, really important. Number 2, you have to gain knowledge. Knowledge is really, really important. If you don't have it, where can you find it? Can you have a mentor? Can you learn from someone? You have to have the knowledge, because it's not enough to be just a positive. Then you're just a positive, motivated idiot, like I'm saying. So number 2 is knowledge, gain knowledge. Number 3, and most people fail on this, many people fail on this, is taking action. You have to take action. You have to do, you have to take action. It's really, really important, simple step, but so many people don't take the action.
And Mr. Gunnar, I see a lot of people, reading a lot of books, and do not apply what is really necessary.
Yeah, that's necessary. So it's simple: attitude, knowledge, and action. And what is number 4 then? That's really important factor. It's persistence. Keep on fighting. Keep on fighting. And if you fail, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. You go to your attitude, you gain more knowledge, and you take again action, and you persist and persist. And number 5 is really simple step, but it's the most important step of the step is don't give up. So, don't rest if you must, but don't give up. So it's really simple step: attitude, knowledge, action, persistence, and don't give up. And you can take this 5 step into whatever you're doing. Do I have the attitude to do things? Do I have the knowledge? Where can I find the knowledge? Okay, I have to take the action, I have to persist, and I cannot give up. So if you just this simple formula, if you follow it, I have no worry about you or anyone.
That's awesome. And among those 5 topics that you just brought here, what is in your opinion and in experience, what is the point that the people most fail?
Most people, and in many cases, people fail just before everything, just before the success, you can say. So, because they have the attitude, they start, they gain some knowledge, take some action, they persist a little bit, but they are not willing to persist enough. So they probably give up just a little bit too soon.
Yeah, and awesome. And I think that it's much more than sales. It's about habits, right? And when
it's everything in life. It doesn't matter if you're playing golf, if you're, in sales or in entrepreneurship, whatever. So many people give up just before they, touch the finish line.
Yeah, lose weight or go to the gym and get results.
Yeah,
it's all the
simple
thing.
time.
Yeah, definitely. And I see, I don't know if you have the same perspective, but I see that most of the people are much more engaged to start, but when start and see the first obstacles, the first problems, the first troubles, they just stop, and it's
Yeah,
just at least here in Brazil, I don't know if it's a global action, but a lot of people, in January, for example, you go to in front of the gyms, for example, that are, overcrowded.
yeah,
It's really
yeah.
strange. And after the carnival, it's a little bit less people. And after a holiday, it's a little bit less people. And when we get, like, for example, December, the last December, after before the New Year's Eve, I was at the gym, and I can tell you, it was only me and more three people, and
Exactly.
I see that it happens as well on sales. People are like, oh, let's you start, let's you do it, let's you get it. And when see the problems happening, that people don't want in what they are selling, or how they are selling, they just stop, and
Excuse me. Do you know
okay.
what? This is really dangerous, because the problem is when you start giving up, it's really likely that can be a habit. And habit, you become your habit. So if you understand me,
Yeah,
so it's really dangerous to start giving up, because it can be a habit, and the habit is you become your habits. And people make goals. They have goals, but they don't think so much about the habit, because the habit is more important than the goals. But if you have the right habits, you can reach the goal. It doesn't matter. The habit is the key. And one of the key is also asking yourself, why are you doing it? And if it's really, 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 really important, you will strike to the end and you will not give up. So it's if you've heard about the pain and pleasure principle, so
yeah, awesome. It's what
yeah.
really happens. And yeah, it's what we see, when people start to do a thing. But well, changing a little bit our topic, how is your work today? So how do you help people and companies, to get better results? How is it all in an overview?
Actually, I'm really lucky that like I said, I've been doing this here in Iceland, this small population, for many, many, many years. But I have really many great clients, customers, and my typical, week or month, we can say, I'm always, most of them, working with the same company, and mostly I'm working with a company that actually are doing great, because they know how it's important to, sharp the knowledge, to be sharp, and so yeah, so that's really typical for me, to work with the same company again and again and again and again and again. And I help them with doing seminars, of course, and also I'm in private coaching. So yeah, so
Very,
if you're asking about that.
yeah, very awesome. Yeah. And so throughout your days in progress, so what do you see that is the hardest things for companies and, well, business in general, about uh, getting up the sales? So what do you see that is the hardest thing? Is the culture of the company? It's the market? Is the lack of strategies to sell and perceive? What is your point about that?
Sorry to say, nothing of you mentioned. Mostly
Really,
it's actually
I can't believe it. Let's
it's
talk about it.
actually Mostly it's excuses. You know, I'm not selling because of the price. I'm not selling because the weather is so terrible. I'm not selling because I'm some excuses. And they are also really dangerous because everything you focus on will grow. So if you focus on excuses, you will get more excuses, and in the end of the day, you can do nothing.
Yeah.
So instead of focusing on excuses, focus on positive thing, focus on solution, and you will get much more about that. It's the same like say, I don't have money, and you're always talking about that you don't have money, and you complain about that, and you focus on that, then people are really wondering, why don't I have any money? I don't, you know, and they really don't understand it, but they're not focusing. The focus is really important. So what you're focusing on, and also there's a main reason. It's also, of course, we have to have a great leader. But in the end of the day, it's always up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can choose, make excuses or make a success. It's up to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what generally, what do you propose for the companies? So change the leader, change the mindset, change what? Or like let's do it together with the same people and with the what is it?
Yeah, like in the book From Good to Great, get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus. So when you're hiring people to work with you, it doesn't matter if they're in sales or whatever. Always get the right people. I mean, with the right character, if I can say so, with the right mindset, because it's really difficult to change people totally. But if you have the right mindset and the right people, it's teaching people is the simple thing because they have the right mindset. So that's the key factor. So yeah, that's the key factor. Have the right people on the bus and the wrong people get off the bus.
Awesome. And how is the currently the in general? I mean, the hiring process in Iceland. I'm talking about because here in Brazil, you know, generally they do not have it. Generally they just say, "Oh, please send us your curriculum and your CV, and we will." Keep in contact very soon. It's just like, but the person who interviews the candidate, that person does not have a competence to do that, or does not understand how important is are some important or soft skills to it be done, you know, because some people just focus on hard skills like, do you know how to do that? Do you know how to operate it? Do you know how to use that tool? Okay, so you are the best person because you had that experience before, and forget completely about the soft skills, you know. And is it in Iceland the same? People are doing the hiring process in a wrong way. How is it?
Actually, now back to like I'm always saying, it's similar all over the world. Not completely same, of course, but it's similar. But the main key is this: people are in most cases hired because what they know, the knowledge, but they are fired because of who they are. So you have to work on yourself. That's the best key. So, you know, many relate this to this when I say it, especially CEO and people manager, that they hire people with good knowledge, but they cannot work with them because of the character. So that's really, really, really back to basic again.
Yeah, and do you have the feeling that it's getting worse? I mean, the people who are going to get a job or because here in Brazil, you know, looks like that we need people from other countries, because people in Brazil, and I don't know if in other countries is the same, but here in Brazil, the people who are getting to the process, they want the job, they want to get the job, but they don't want to work. And do you have that feeling, or is it only about my country here?
No, it's not only in your country.
Oh my God.
It's the same. I can say it. It's I'm not gonna say it's the same all over the world completely, and back it's similar in many ways. You know, for example, here in Iceland, you know, people are always asking for more from the company and less work and more money. You know, it's the same all over the world. So, you know, so
How to solve it? You know, are we going to the artificial intelligence for a necessity or for an accident?
I,
Because probably
I,
maybe it's the solution. I don't know.
yeah, but there's always the same key factor. For example, when people are always complaining about what they get paid, and that's I can understand that because in many
Yeah.
cases it's not fair. But the key factors are the same also about that also in all over the world is, you know, the principle is if you take a little bit look at it, it's number one, you have to think about what is your job? Are you brain surgeons? Are you cleaning toilet? Are you a manager? Are you CEO? What is your job? That's one factor. Number two, where are you located? That's another factor. Are you in Iceland? Are you in Europe? Are you in Asia? Where are you? In Brazil? That's another factor. Number three is how good are you in your job also?
Yeah.
Are you average? Are you great? Are you fantastic? And number four, how easy is it to replace you from another person? So where are you located? Are you working for the government? Are you working for a private company? You know, this you know, you have to think about that. This is a really basic principle. You know, where are you located? What are you doing? How good are you? And how easy it's to find just another person do the same like you. So we have
Awesome.
to think about it. Yeah, it's a key factor. Simple.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, and you were saying that I just it just reminded me that um, here in Brazil, a lot of people, you know, when they enter in the job, and even more if we're talking about people less than 30 years old, uh, they want to grow very fast, but with very small actions.
That's understandable. I mean, you know, everything is going really faster in the world. You know, swipe to the right or left, you know, and you're on date. You know, you know, everything is really fast. You know, put on one button and your coffee is ready. You know,
Yeah.
so it's just the way of life and everything is how it's going now. So yes, it's
Awesome. And so
everything is changing.
yeah, yeah. And Mr. Gunnar, before we go to your book, in fact, well, first of all, we are going to talk about how did you take the decision to write this book? Because probably we'll have a small story there. You know, how did you decide uh, to write this book? But I just really would like to talk about now the backstage story. So
Yeah.
how did you decide to write this book?
Uh, for many reasons. And I can mention number one, I want to speak from my grave. You know, a long time after I'm dead, I can maybe help someone, and that's is a great feeling. You know,
Awesome.
maybe not when I'm dead, but and I felt like I had no choice. I had, you know, I have success, ups and downs. You know, I've failed many times. I learn from it, rise up again, and I have not been a straight line. It's been going up and down. So I really wanted to do it, and I wanted to write a different personal development book from all over personal development book in the world because I have been reading so much, like you can see here. This is just a little bit of it, and also I want to educate people about Iceland, where I'm from, and so the best choice to bring the message to the world was just to tell my story and mix it together. I don't know if you have read any chapter in the book or not, but
Yeah.
So that was the best way to do it. And I have all the excuses to not write the books because I have, how do you say it in English? Dyslexia. It was
Yeah.
dyslexia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and English is not my first language, so I have all the excuses. But excuses are for losers only. So yeah. So and actually, I have finished another book now, a novel. But it's a different book, but with the same writing style, if I can say so. And I just started the third book. So, and I have more books to write that I can never finish that in my whole life. So yeah. So this is a passion for me. So, and the reason I did it because I want to, I have learned so a lot from my mistakes and all the seminars and all these books. So I want to bring something back, give something back also. And every time I get a great message about the book, message from middle of nowhere, it's encouraged me to do more of this. So that's my big motivation. My readers are my motivation to do more.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that book, it's so soft how to read it, and much more than that, when you start it, you don't want to stop because it's very it's a flow reading, and it's a flow reading movement. And so it's how you are really talking to you here in front of you. And so because probably maybe because of the title, when you see there message from the middle of nowhere. And so when you just say here about Viking philosophy, you are just, oh, that's it would be a very dense book, but it's not. But at the same time, it has a very great story behind it. And it's the first question about the book. Why is the Viking philosophy is important for you, to write about that book? How do you see that the Viking philosophy could help the people to get a better life, to get a better company, or to be a better employee? So how is the Viking philosophy?
I can answer this really quickly. It's really simple, because it's have all to do with your attitude. For like I say, in Iceland we are only 360,000 people, and if you count all the Icelanders from the beginning, from the Vikings arrive here in Iceland in 870, we don't even go much higher than a million Icelanders, with all the dead people also. So it's so, in our blood, it's so really much this fighting attitude, like I said before, that have helped Icelanders in many ways. And I'm not bragging, but I'm really proud of how Icelanders have been doing great things in a lot of things, compared to how few we are. And we are always saying, yeah, but we are the best in the world in this and this and that, because compared to the capital, we are best per capita, you understand? So this is a really much, like I said, it's like the Viking blood is running in our body, because we have this mentality to fight, don't give up, we are going to the battle. And we have a lot of Icelanders saying, like, we should get, if you fail, you get your weapon back, and we all the culture, it's so much about, getting your weapon back, go back in the battle, go and fight for it, so that's why I even the book is not so much like, maybe if you're reading, it's not about the typical Viking, but we are so close to it, so it's really much about more the attitude,
And
it's
when
really
you
much
say, awesome. And when you say about the thing, and I really, I promise you, I tell a thing here all the time, in my speeches, in my courses, in my meetings, with clients and employees, you know, about the word try. Oh no, and when I saw it in your book, I was really so happy because yeah, I'm
Trying is
right
lying.
about it, you know, because I just say never for the people, never more pronounce the word try, because
Right.
try is a word for losers. A try
Yeah.
is a word for failure people, because when you see, I will try to do this, oh, you are getting a promise that you won't get it, because you know,
Yeah.
let me try. As you said, I think that I'm getting that throughout the world probably is the same about the word try, you know. But
Yeah. Trying is
here
lying.
all the time, yeah, yeah, let's try to do that. I was just like, try, why are you talking about try? And so I recommend all the people never more pronounce that word try, because try is for losers. Yeah. And
Yeah.
just explain a little bit more about it, because in your book it's very clear.
Yeah, I said trying is lying. Trying is lying. I mean, come on. I will try to come to this meeting at 8 o'clock. And if I don't get it, I just said, I just tried, because I make up the excuses in advance. So you know, so trying is, trying is just lying.
That's awesome.
You
Yeah.
do it or don't. If you say, okay, I invite you to my birthday party 8 o'clock next Wednesday, and you say, I'm gonna try to visit and come. You're actually saying, now I have actually make an excuse for not coming. And you say, come on, I will do my best. I will do it. I will be there. If I'm alive, I will be, I will. The word promise is really strong. Why? Because we are everywhere in the world, people, when they're growing up, and the parents say, you promise to be home before this time, and the child say, yes, I will be before this time. And the promise is much stronger than try, because when you promise something, you talk totally different to yourself, and there's a promise, there's a different thing. So if people say, I tried to be at 8 o'clock, yeah, he's probably not gonna make it, and he's not coming, but I can promise you, I will be at sharp 8 o'clock. It's 98%, 99%, he will be at 8 o'clock. So, change also the language you use when you're talking to yourself and other people.
Awesome. Yeah. And there is a very interesting thing in your book, and I just would like to make you two in one question. That is, uh, you just say about, and in Brazil we have, I don't know if it's the same there, but because now I'm thinking that all the globe now, after you said, because oh my God, okay, but you have a very interesting information that you bring us about, if you don't ask the question, the answer will always be no. And here in Brazil, we just say, o não você já tem. That is in Portuguese, in English, it's the word no you already have. Yeah. And so if you don't ask the question, the answer will always be no. Yeah. And that is the question that I would like to put together with another question. So you just started as a paper boy, so at that time in your childhood, uh, did you get this information? Did you get this learning, this message, or it was for you at that time, a little bit hiding or anything like that? So how did you start to understand that the no you already had?
Actually, this is a quite good question, because no one asked me about this before.
Wow, awesome.
But yeah, no one have asked me about this before. I got it naturally. I knew it really, really early on. If I don't ask the question, the answer will be no. That I was always willing to ask questions. It's better to get no, and then okay, nothing's going to happen. So this is also became a habit, that asking questions, you know, it's better to do that. So it goes way back.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And so throughout the book, you just talk about your childhood as well, you know. So what are the lessons that you could say that you learned when you were a child still, you know? What are the lessons that you learned there that were very useful to you get an adult and act better in your career, in your life?
If people are willing to help you, you know, you can do something for them instead. Like say, I take for example of this in the first chapter, when the eruption start looking is everything. So I mean, it's really, I mean, you should help the people that are helping you in some cases, even if you give them some commission, some favor instead. You know, it's because you cannot do anything by yourself. You know, you always need other people in your team. It's really important. You know, there's nothing like self-made millionaires. There's not, you know, you always have to have some people around you to help you. So that's the most important. And sometimes you give some people, you know, money. Sometimes you give them, you know, something, you know, just thank you, and something you do something nice for them instead. So that's really important for me. It doesn't have to be money. It can be respect. But you know, help. You know, don't forget the people that are helping you. That's
Awesome.
that's really important.
Right. And uh, did you reach in your life the bottom? Because you know, when you say that when you hit the bottom, the only way is up, you know,
Yeah.
it looks like that it's really what you pass it through, you know. So in some part of your life, did you reach the bottom? Because we just talked about success, we just talk about books written, we just talk about great things achieved, but in your life, so did you have the dark side, you know? Did you have the bottom moment? So how was it?
Yes, many times. There's so many examples of this in the book Message from the Middle of Nowhere, about when I hit the bottom, and I have to look up to see the bottom. so you know, and you know, it's really much also about the attitude. When that happened to me, I always thought by myself, this is just great. This will even make my book better. So now this is good. My book will be better. I have better story to tell. I will gain something from it. So I changed the negative into some positive way. So yeah, I've hit the bottom many times. I failed many times, you know.
And so what just tell us one example of a moment that you achieved at the bottom, and how was it important for you for today?
It's hard to choose now. Which example should I?
But well, maybe choose the you know the time which more were really impressive, or was just like on your mind throughout the time, you know, when like oh, look where I've been before, you know, and that is a maybe is a as a point of reference for you, you know.
I had a few moments. Once, and I actually write about this in the book, when I thought I had conquered the world. You know, I was the rock star in, you know, in one business, and everything failed, and you know, from crash in, you know, split second. So that was quite big shock, and yeah. So like I say in the book, life is not always fair. Get used to it and move on. So don't expect that it's going to be easy. just expect it's gonna be tough. But that doesn't matter, because you have the right attitude, you gain the knowledge, you take action, you persist, and you don't give up.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
You know what? I was reading some commentaries about your book on Amazon and in other platforms, and I saw that a lot of people who loves fiction books, were
Yeah,
really interested in your books as well.
yeah,
Even more
yeah,
not being a fiction
yeah,
book.
yeah, yeah.
Why
You're
do you think it happened?
Actually, when I was writing the book, I had a specific audience in my mind, young entrepreneur that were curious about Iceland. But what have surprised me most is there's people, not only young entrepreneurs, there's all kinds of people, and like exactly like you are saying, that people that even read this kind of book, personal development books, they actually, so many like them, and they're even, for example, the only reason I'm not making 5-star is because of I'm not in the entrepreneurship. They're making excuses for it. It's true. It's have surprised me a lot. But the question is why. I think it's because the book is quite honest, and it's a storytelling, and storytelling is really important from my point of view. So even if you're not into the personal development book, you can read it in a story, and you will gain also knowledge about a lot of Icelandic, and it's a storytelling. And I had this in my mind when I was writing the book, because I wanted to bring some value to the audience, both for people that want to learn something about Iceland, or even if they want to get some knowledge about personal development, even sales, and there's a lot about sales, and that's for sure, that's true. Many people have been sending me thank you notes and said, listen, I don't like anything in sales, I don't read about sales, that's not my cup of tea, but still I love your book. So yeah, so I'm really happy about that, and that's probably one of the reasons that the book have been doing so well.
It's really what I felt. When I was reading, I was not reading about only sales. I was not reading about only business. I was reading about how to pursue things in life. How to get
Exactly.
things done. How to be stronger. In your inner, to face the troubles, the problems,
So
the
true.
it's really interesting, and I think that it's the way how it's connected with the Viking philosophy as well. Yeah, it's the life lesson.
Yeah. For example, people ask me, is this book about you and life story? No, actually not. The book is really much about fight and hope and persistence and attitude, and these steps, what I'm talking about. For example, if you watch the movie Titanic, it's not a movie about Titanic, it's a love story, but they use the Titanic story to bring the message. Same like here, I use my life story to bring the message and the knowledge about Iceland. So that's my platform. So that's how I thought it, and that's how I think it. So it's a book about, we can say persistence and actions and hope and these kind of things, and also entrepreneurship and a lot of other things. Yeah, but you got it right. Yeah.
Awesome. And of course, through your book, much more people can read, know your ideas, and can have their lives reached somehow. But at the same time, do you have a
Hello?
fear? Can you hear me? Oh no, yeah, we just back now.
Yeah. A little bit strange.
Okay, no problem.
Frozen.
We're
I
back.
hope so, but you're yeah.
Yeah, we are back.
Back in business.
No problem. I will make the question
Yeah.
again. So well, of course that through your book you could reach a lot of people, much more people than you were reaching, of course, through your speeches, through your courses, through uh,
Yeah.
your training seasons. But at the same time, as we know, I'm sharing this area with you, not talking only about sales but mindset as well. uh, we see that we have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of people to reach still. Yeah, and I have a joke here in Brazil that I will just try to replace the state, take a United States state, just to contextualize for you. We have an Arkansas state still to be reached and cropped, because it's like in Brazil we say, nós temos Mato Grosso do Sul para capinar ainda. That is, we have a very big state in Brazil is Mato Grosso, and in the United States would be Arkansas, for example, to reach and crop all the country, all the state, and do you have the same feeling that, more than you try to get your to carry your message, more you see that your work is bigger than your challenges are more complex than, because I see that just like, oh my god, the people are sick, I mean, about their minds, they are really needing a help, they're really needing a person to get them to look forward and not stay just, with their vision and two matters near them, so do you have that same feeling that you still have a lot of things to do? And uh, because in my opinion, in my case, for example, sometimes I stay a little bit depressed about how can I reach more people, to get it, because there are a lot of them.
Yeah. Once again, back to basic. Back to basic.
Yeah.
And be brilliant on the basic. The basic fact is always the key. Be brilliant on the basic. In many cases, this is the same all over. And what I have found out, and I'm always finding out again and again and again, and I found it out many, many, many years ago, that people are in general are really similar wherever you are in the world, in many cases. I have been traveling to Africa. I've been in Africa and like, like one chapter says in the book, Elias in Iceland, Gunnar Andri in Africa. I've been in Africa and I met a lot of people there. And in basic, we are all the same. We're always thinking about the same. It's crazy. Even if the culture can be totally different.
Yeah. And do you see that how could you reach more people, through not only your book but through your message as well, because we need it a lot. We need the lessons that you bring in your book, and the people are really needing that, because it's really hard now, for a lot of them.
Yeah, actually, I choose to bring my message through books now, but in the near future, maybe there will be more audiobooks, and everything is changing and changing really fast. So, it depends on, everything is changing. Like, for example, social media everything's changing, and it can change really, really fast. For example, one video can be viral in short period of time, and and for example, you talk to a mutual friend that told you about this book, and it's in the whole world is so small in many cases, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah, definitely. And do you agree with the sentence, with the phrase, good times create weak people, hard times create strong people, just like a cycle, like the hard time creates strong people, and strong people create good time, and good time creates weak people, and weak people create hard time. Do you agree with this phrase? And somehow, so how do you see it?
Yeah, I think it's not this simple. I think good times can also bring also good people, and bad times can also bring bad people, because, for example, if people are having a really much problem in their lives, that can also bring up not the best of them in themselves. So I cannot say that it's like that simple, but bad times can also bring out stronger people. So it goes in both ways. It's yin and yang. If you're surrounded by good people, you can be even better person. If you're surrounded by really bad company, and that's probably not good for you. Like if a quote to Jim Rohn, you're the average of your 5 best friends. So that's really true, I believe. So really choose your people that you are around, because you will become one of them. That's for sure. So the people you are surrounded by it's very important. I mean, if you're surrounded by loser, you will be probably loser.
Awesome. Yeah, very good. So well, just before we go to the final of our conversation, because I'm liking online, and have a lot of reflection that we can afterward have a part 2 of it with the participation of our listeners. What is, in your opinion, the most important, of course, I mean, about message and about what we need for today in our country, in our world, in our life, in our business? What is the most important part of the book, in your opinion, about message, about a quote, a specific quote? Do you have it? Do you have the favorite part of the book?
This is actually, it's hard to say that, to take just one out of it all and say this is the most important, because it also depends on where are you in the life, what you need, because we need sometimes this person needs this message, and that's the most important message for this person, that gain knowledge. For other person is maybe other message that's about maybe persist. So I cannot answer this question that to just point one thing out, because it can be different from person to person. What is the most important message. And why I say that is because I know that for a fact that, for example, many of my readers, they say the first part of the book was better, and other people say the second part of the book was better, and the other people say, I related to this, things that you're saying is what's really good for me, and other people say totally different, but you understand it depends on many things where you are in the life at this moment. But so it's like when you're listening to a music, you're not thinking about what's going on the singer's mind when he's or she is playing the music, and you're related to your own feelings. So it's if I can explain it in this way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, talking about books still, but not your book. You have a lot of books behind you there. I just saw one very interesting book that I just read it there. That is Sapiens. I think there's a compulsory reading for all the people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, what are the books behind you? What are they talking about? It's about philosophy. It's about what do you read before your book, or better, what did you read before your book?
I read a lot of all kind of books. Is really much about, of course, personal development, sales, management, leadership, you know, all kinds of that things, and also read a lot of books about how do you say folk stories. You know, for example, over there, here,
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so and I use this kind of story. My next book is gonna be, you're gonna love it. If you like my book already now, you will love the next book. It's a novel. So I read all kind of book, you know, both in English and Icelandic, of course, and yeah. So it's a mixed. It's a lot of Icelandic, you know, folk stories, and they can be crazy. You will find out in the next book, message from the hidden people. So it's gonna be strange stories about elves and trolls and all kind of ghosts and really crazy things. And you know, so I read, yeah, it's mixed.
Very good. And so how can the people get your book? How can the people purchase your book?
You can come to Iceland, and you have to be really quick now because it's almost sold out, and there's a new print coming, so it's a double size of the last printing. But if you are not coming to Iceland, I highly recommend that you go to Amazon. So it's every bookstore in Iceland or Amazon. So you can choose, come to Iceland, bring the copy there in some bookstore, or go to Amazon.
Awesome. And are you planning to get the another versions of this book in other languages or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a, I cannot talk so much about it, but there's a publisher like want to translate it into how to say it, Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
That can be a possibility in the near future. At least they are seeing interest in the book, and I can see that happen. But that's not gonna happen maybe until maybe after a few years, maybe, because the process is not really quick.
Of course. Yeah. And here is the last question. No, the previous last question, because the previous last question is, are you planning or are you writing a new book?
Am I writing?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I told you, I just finished one. So now that book is going into my editor, and will be translated in this year and published end of this year or next year. So, and I also started another book, so I don't know how many books in my mind. So it's overflowed. It's sometimes I'm just asking myself, who is doing this, writing this book, because
awesome.
I don't know where it comes from. It's no writing blocks. Writing blocks. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, awesome. Very good. And the last question is, what is for you, Mr. Gunnar Andri, what is life for you? What is the life for you?
Peace of mind. Simple. Peace of mind is really important. To have peace of mind. If you have peace of mind, you are highly likely happy. So you can use a lot of words for it. You can say life is to enjoy the moment, live in the moment, peace of mind, happiness. That's really important. And one of the things to make your life happier is that, you know, have the right people around you, have the health, have the, you know, right company around you, of course. So I can say it in many words and in different ways. But when we go straight to the point, it's really much about peace of mind and be thankful what you have and enjoy the life, you know.
Nice.
Everything, this is really important in life. The best part, everything is really important in life. It's simple.
Awesome.
We make some things and make it complicated. So in basic, it's not so complicated.
Awesome. Well, here we go to get you in the next year to Brazil. And so let's, you know, very soon we want you here, right, with us. And of course that we will have this opportunity to be together and even in Iceland or in another part of the world, but we will be
Small world.
yeah, presentially, you know. Well, I just would like to thank you, Mr. Andri Torison, Gunnar Andri Torison, for your participation. That was a really, really interesting and unique moment to all the audience here to know and get some tips about how to get a better life, how to get a better result and better results, and how to get better mindset, you know, to you get your things done, you know. Well, we have the all the doors here is all open for you, you know, and if you want to be back, of course you will be very welcome. And so I just would like to thank as well Mr. Elio, you know, my friend, which recommended you, you know, for me.
Fantastic guy.
Fantastic guy. Yes.
Yeah,
Elio
great
just
guy.
told me about you, and I was just like, oh my God, but an Icelandic guy. Let me know it. And I was, oh, yeah, you are much more Brazilian than you think, Mr. Gunnar.
I think you're also really right on that, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
awesome. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for your participation, you know, and as you said here, the people can get your book on Amazon platform, yeah, throughout the globe. And if you have any question, the link of the Amazon book will be here as well, you know, in our description to you get it. Well, it's just like that. I just could say thank you for all the lessons. Thank you for your time spent here in our PowerMind podcast. And I hope you see you soon, Mister.
I'm really grateful and thank you very much. And I really hope that some of my message, you know, help someone. And then the time was really worth it.
You can be sure.
Yeah, I'm really thankful. And
you can be sure about it. See you soon. Yeah. Just 1 minute, Mister. And I will record now. We still are recording, but I will finish now in Portuguese, okay? And just stay because it will be edited. Bom, pessoal, foi isso então. Vocês viram e acabaram de ver a super entrevista com o Mr. Gunnar Andri Torison. Foi muito interessante esse momento. Eu espero que vocês tenham curtido demais também. Como eu disse para vocês, se vocês querem, tiverem o interesse de comprarem o livro dele, está disponível lá na Amazon, na plataforma Amazon. É só você ir lá e também tem aqui na descrição desse vídeo para você poder ir lá diretamente e comprar o livro. Gostaria de agradecer, então, o nosso super convidado aí e teremos mais entrevistas em breve aqui no Power Mindcast, o podcast para balançar a sua mente. Valeu, pessoal, e vejo vocês na próxima.